Hello everybody and welcome back to another top 10 video. My name is Joker and today we're going to be going over my top 10 DC villains. You guys absolutely killed it last time with my top 10 video for my DC heroes. It went way beyond my expectations and I couldn't be happier, so I thought that I think I'm going to start making this a weekly thing and just make top 10s of literally everything and anything. So, since I've done my top 10 DC heroes, it's only appropriate that I do my top 10 DC villains. So let's get started with number 10. So my number 10 spot on my list is Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow. Scarecrow's first appearance was in World's Finest Comics number 3 in September of 1941. The Master of Fear himself started as a professor of psychology in Gotham City, and from being bullied constantly as a child, he grew for this strong passion for fear and revenge. After taking a position at Arkham Asylum, he would start using experimental drugs and a psychology tactic to start bringing fear and phobias out of all of his patients. And afterwards, in the words of the great Don Falcone, the nut took over the nut house and he himself would eventually end up in Arkham Asylum. One of the reasons he's on my top 10 list is really because he's just a normal guy that just has the ability to terrify you. It doesn't really go farther than that. All he can really do is spread his fear toxin throughout the air, and once you inhale it, you have nothing to do. Everything you see could be a figment of your imagination or a reality, and as far as you're concerned, everything you see is real. However, the whole concept design of his character, like wearing a scarecrow mask and just looking like all creepy, I'm all about that stuff. I'm a sucker for just masks in general, so that's why he's number 10 on my list. Coming in at my number 9 spot, we have Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler. With his first appearance in Detective Comics issue 140 in October of 1948, the Riddler would become today one of Batman's greatest foes. At a young age, Edward Nygma became a lover of puzzles, riddles, and word games. He excelled at all of these activities during his time in school because it felt that it showed off his superior intelligence. He eventually down the line became a carnival employee where he would master in cheating all of his customers out of their money with riddles that they could not solve. After so many years of cheating people out of money at carnivals, he decided to become the Riddler, mainly to challenge the Batman, who he saw as a worthy adversary. One of the great things about the Riddler is that in a lot of the comics and a lot of the game series, he has the ability to make you hate him so much, even though if you got into a fist fight with him, chances are you'd probably win. He just happens to be one of the villains that Batman can come across where he has an answer for absolutely everything and he always has a contingency plan waiting in the back. But that is one of the main reasons I love the character so much, is that he does such a good job of being irritating and knowing everything that's going to happen that you just have to wonder how Batman's going to try to take him down next, because you never know what is going to be happening and what backup plan Riddler might have waiting in the wings. Okay, we're going a little bit off of the tracks with this next one because my number 8 spot is going to be Andrea Beaumont, or the Phantasm. The Phantasm's first appearance was in the first ever Batman animated movie, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, that released December 25th of 1993. Andrea Beaumont was Bruce's love interest in the film, and after getting engaged, they quickly broke it off. Andrea had realized that her father had gotten in a little too deep with the mob at the time, and they ended up running away to Europe to hide. Eventually, after hiding for so long, the mob caught up with him, and unfortunately her father was killed. Once she realized that her father had been double-crossed, she decided to come back to Gotham to take out the people that killed her father, masquerading as the Phantasm. The reason I decided to choose the Phantasm is simply because of the look of the character. Anything that resembles the Grim Reaper in any way, shape, or form instantly has a way to my heart. The only real two things you ever see her use in the film are smokescreen and a claw that she has on her right hand that's supposed to resemble the Grim Reaper's scythe. One of the only other times we actually see the Phantasm is in the end of the Justice League series, when we discover that Amanda Waller had originally hired the Phantasm to kill Terry McGinnis' parents right in front of his eyes, just as he was a little kid. Yeah, so if you really didn't hate Amanda Waller already, yeah, she's still the biggest bitch. The Phantasm has had smaller appearances in comic books here and there, but overall, nothing too crazy. The character is very short-lived, and I really wish that they had done more, since there was so much potential with the design and look of the character. Coming in at number 7, we have Prometheus. Prometheus has appeared in many different renditions and storylines. The version I have specifically chosen for this top 10 is the Prometheus version from the CW show Arrow. Coming in season 5 of the Arrow, our new villain is Prometheus, a black hooded archer very similar to just about every other villain we've seen throughout the show. The only real difference besides him using a bow and arrow is his use of throwing stars. Throughout the course of the season, we find that multiple people are murdered with these, giving him the title of the Throwing Star Killer. However, later it is revealed that Prometheus is actually Adrian Chase, who is Star City's district attorney, which unfortunately becomes a giant sucker punch into the storyline as he has such great ties to Oliver Queen, who at the time is mayor of Star City. One of the things I loved about this character, besides the aesthetic appeal of the black outfit he has, is the fact that he's so close to Oliver that he knows he can't do anything about it. With the struggle of Oliver having to work in office with Adrian Chase there at all times, knowing well aware that he is Prometheus, there's absolutely nothing he can do about it and he is just stuck there. This leads to one of the greatest plots I think that has happened so far in the story, just simply because he is right there and there's nothing you can do about it. You can just sit there and stare at him all day and nothing's gonna change. And this is the reason that he's number 7 on my list, just because he just simply does the best job of pissing you off as you watch him throughout the show. Coming in at number 6, we have Floyd Lawton, aka Deadshot. And let me tell you, after I read what happened in his childhood, this backstory is pretty fucked. With his first appearance in Batman issue number 59 in June of 1950, Floyd Lawton is known to everyone as the assassin who never misses, with his signature weapon being a sniper rifle. However, when we dial it back a little bit to look into his origin story, you realize that there was a lot of stuff that happened to make him an assassin for pay. Floyd Lawton grew up in a family that was very wealthy, with an older brother that was loved more so by his parents than he was, and a father that was very abusive. However, Floyd Lawton would always stick up for his older brother and would always be there for him whenever he needed him. Eventually, as time goes on, we find out that his father has become too abusive, and his mother literally eggs him on to take out his father. Then, hidden from the treehouse in the backyard, he takes a shot at his father, but misses, killing his brother. After the traumatization of realizing he has killed the only one he's ever looked up to, Floyd Lawton decides to make a pact with himself to never miss another shot again, and thus he was known as the man that never misses. Deadshot comes off as one badass assassin with a great costume design and a great variety of weapons to choose from. And while his appearance and storyline was jiffed pretty badly in Arkham Origins, he's still one of my favorites. This next one could possibly come as a surprise to a lot of you depending on if you know me or not, but my number 5 spot is coming in with Harley Quinn. But you're the Joker, shouldn't she be like number 2 or something? I mean, it's Joker and Harley, how can you do that? You know what, just keep watching, you'll understand. Aside from most of the characters in DC history, Harley Quinn was one of the first to ever come out of an animated TV series. Harley's first appearance was in an episode of Batman the Animated Series entitled Joker's Favor, and with her signature Harley Quinn costume, she would become Joker's partner in crime. However, before she was known as Harley Quinn, she was actually known as Dr. Harleen Quinzel, a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. Upon time working at the asylum, one of her first patients was the Joker. After so many sessions and so many meetings, she actually thought that she was getting through and was actually helping him with all of his issues, but what she did not account for at the time was that she was actually falling in love with him. Eventually, the wiring in her head comes loose and she decides to spring Joker out of Arkham Asylum so they can take over Gotham together. And it doesn't matter what rendition of Harley Quinn you throw at me, they're all going to be my favorite and she will always remain my number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Hunter Zolomon, or Zoom. While Hunter Zolomon's first appearance was in The Flash, Secret Files and Origins number 3 in November of 2001, Zoom would actually make his first appearance in The Flash Volume 2, issue 197 in June of 2003. The real beginning of his story begins when he is paralyzed from the waist down from Gorilla Grodd while in Blackgate Prison. After begging his best friend Wally West to use the time-traveling cosmic treadmill to go back in time to prevent all of the horrible things from happening to him, he refuses because Wally feels that if he goes back in time to fix it, it could alter the universe and change their friendship. Zolomon decides to do it himself and then everything goes wrong. While using the cosmic treadmill, it overloads and explodes, causing a massive wave to go right through Hunter Zolomon. And while his paralysis is fixed, it also grants him super speed. After discovering his powers, he realizes that Wally West is really the enemy of his after he refused to help him in the first place, so he decides to become the supervillain known as Zoom. One of the things I really love about Zoom is that he is considered one of the Reverse Flash characters. And upon not necessarily having super speed, he has more of an ability to control time and different time barriers. The character has a large variety of a wardrobe change depending on what comic or TV show he appears in. My personal favorite, once again, is from the CW's version of The Flash, where he's completely covered in all black. Plus, the blue lightning just adds a really clean, simple touch. It's just something that I'm never going to get over. I just love clean, slick designs. And coming in at number 3 on my list, we have another speedster from the Flash universe, and that is August Hart, aka Godspeed. Now, as much as I absolutely love the concept of Godspeed, his origin story seems to be a little weak. Godspeed is one of the newest speedsters to come into the DC universe, first appearing in The Flash Rebirth number 1 in August of 2016. August Hart is known as one of Barry's colleagues in the CCPD. His life changes forever when he tries to confront a criminal that he knows killed his brother in years past. Upon confronting him, he is shot at by the villain. However, before it can hit him and before Barry has the chance to save him, he is coincidentally struck by lightning from the Speed Force. Naturally, I suppose you have to create the character somehow, however, this just seemed like a very weak way to do it. Just like, hey, let's just strike him with lightning at a great opportune time. Personally, I think they could have done that a lot better. However, I don't write comic books. You know, that's not, I can't write a comic book, so I'm just gonna go with what they write. After realizing that he's become a speedster, Barry Allen reveals himself to August as the Flash, and he becomes the Flash's new sidekick. And this is when the whole lightning strike makes a little bit more sense, as what's going on is a Speed Force storm, and there are multiple multiple people being struck by lightning and being turned into speedsters. It is now Barry and August's job to round them all up and keep them in a secure location so they can all use their powers for good. However, as it comes to find out, a lot of the speedsters they start rounding up are ending up dead, and apparently there is another speedster that is killing them off. We find out from August that there is another speedster running around calling himself Godspeed, and he is running around and killing and taking the speed out of all the speedsters. However, after Billy Parks is killed by Godspeed, Barry Allen realizes that it's actually August Hart's, and that Billy Parks is the man that killed August's brother. Barry realizes that not only has August become Godspeed, but he has decided to claim himself as judge, jury, and executioner. And once again, just like every speedster, he claims to be the fastest ever, and for the most part, he kind of is. He has the ability to appear in two places at once in a solid form, which Barry cannot do at all. And his abilities and his powers are what put him at number 3 on my list. However, one thing that I really love about the character is his aesthetic design of a costume. The simple white glow with the yellow accents just make it look so clean compared to other villains and other costumes in the Flash universe. And the fact that he has the ability to appear in two places at once in a solid form and carry on basically two different conversations is a power that not even Barry can master, which is one of the reasons once again that he is in my top 3. Coming in at number 2, we have a big fan favorite, and that is Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. First appearing in the new Teen Titans issue number 2 in December of 1980, Slade Wilson was a soldier in the United States Army and definitely one of the best. While enrolled in the army, he met his wife, Adeline Kane, to whom which they would get married and have a son named Joseph. After being known as the best in the entire United States Army, they chose him for a secret mission, and that secret mission was to become one of the first meta super soldiers. After becoming a super soldier, he decided to become a mercenary after he realized that all of the missions the army was sending him on were basically suicide tasks. However, it isn't until his son Joseph is kidnapped by the Jackal that his story goes very dark. In an attempt to save his son from the Jackal ends up slashing Joseph's throats, severing his vocal cords and leaving him mute. And while he did save his son and his son did live through the altercation, his wife Adeline was not happy with what had happened to Joseph. She felt that Slade had put him in too much danger, so she decided to take matters into her own hand and try to kill Slade herself. However, the bullet would not necessarily kill him, as it would destroy his right eye, leaving him completely blind. However, even after losing the eyesight in his right eye, he felt that no one could match his abilities. Slade was in fact so confident with his physical abilities that he decided to leave a featureless side on the right side of his mask, covering the right side of his eye, knowing so that if anyone saw, they knew he'd only have one eye, but he could still best them without even trying. Slade's main appearance was as the main villain of the Cartoon Network series Teen Titans. Beyond that, he has had many different renditions of his character, including in the Injustice game series and Batman Arkham Origins. Beyond that, his use of weaponry and the look of his mask are what puts him ahead at my number 2. You are instantly one of my favorites just depending on your character design and your backstory, and he is definitely one for my number 2 spot. And as I don't think it'll be coming as a surprise to anyone in particular, my number 1 spot
Gasp! Can it be?
is the Joker. With his first appearance in Batman issue number 1 in April 25th of 1940, Joker has become one of the most iconic villains in all of comic book history. With being Batman's arch nemesis, he doesn't really have any superpowers other than the fact that he is just absolutely insane and no one ever knows what he's going to do. He has been revamped and reimagined more times than I'm able to count, and every different rendition is different, and I absolutely love it. Yes, even Jared Leto's Joker, no matter how horrible it actually is. But fun fact, he wasn't always the Joker. Do you guys remember the Red Hood? That's right, he was actually the Joker. The Red Hood origin story came about in Detective Comics number 186 in 1951. During his final heist, he gets in an altercation with Batman, to which he goes over the ledge of a walkway and into a vat of chemicals, disfiguring his entire body. While Batman searches, he is unable to find the Red Hood. When he emerges from the vat of chemicals, he realizes he has been completely disformed and discolored, and he takes on the personification of the Joker. The Joker's appeared in most of the animated series, the animated TV shows, and several of the live-action films. He will always forever be one of the most iconic DC villains in history, and will definitely be sticking around in the long run. But with all of that out of the way, those are my top 10 DC villains. Now once again, I know my list may not be the same as yours or the same as anyone's, to be honest, so what I want you to do is go down to the comment section down below and let me know if you saw someone you thought should replace someone in my top 10, or if you think a completely different top 10 is in order. I want to know about it, so make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. But that'll be all for this episode, guys, so remember, if you like what you saw, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see more top 10 videos, or if you'd like to see anything else. But until then, and as always, I will see you guys next time.